Okay. I don't know if this is working. Oh, there's the darn cable I was looking for. It was right in front of my face. Oh, geez, hold on. There's the darn cable I was looking for. It was right in front of my. There we go. Oh, if this works, I'll be totally amazed. Let me, and if I don't get confused about 15 times, I'll be totally amazed. So what I'm trying to do is the nice people at SDRplay sent me the SDRplay 1A. I bought, or actually it was bought for me, the one about a year ago, and I really liked it. And Saturday, the 1A came from the people at SDRplay, so I could test it out. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to do side-by-side comparison. Well, relatively side-by-side. So I contacted their support group and asked them how I would do that. Do I have to run two different programs or what? And what they told me is just run two copies of SDR Uno. And I did that about a half an hour ago. And first thing it did, and so now I've got one on one USB port and one on another USB port. And then I have a shared antenna, which I have to switch it back and forth between the two radios. Okay. The first time I hooked up the second USB port, it said that there are no radios, SDRplay radios found. And it did start the program, but it didn't look like it was receiving. And so I exited and I thought, well, let's try it again. So I entered it again, same response. I get this error message that no SDRs were found, and it went in the program, and then Windows crashed. And so Windows rebooted. It took about 15 minutes. And so I started again. Now, I did hear the computer beep when I plugged in the new USB cable. So it did recognize and hooked it to the SDRplay. It did recognize there was a device out there. So after the reboot, I tried running SDR Uno again, and it came up a little screen that gave you a selection between the two radios. Oh, awesome. I thought, man, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And so I selected the one that was on the USB cable that I just installed, which is the Play 1. And so I got that running, and then I opened another copy of SDR Uno, and it didn't ask me which radio to use. It just went to the other radio, which is the 1A, which is what Mike at SDRplay told me it would do. But he didn't tell me about the little crash in between. But luckily, that won't happen again. So then I said, let me try to run. I mean, my computer is, oh yeah, look at this. Look up here. This thing is maxed out. And I've got it at the lowest, I think this is, yeah, it's the lowest bandwidth. So I'm now running SDRplay 1, SDRplay 1A, and I'm doing a Hangout. So this is probably really taxing my computer, which this up here indicates that it is. Now so I've got all these windows open for one of them, and then I got all these windows over here open for the other one. And the easiest way for me to tell which radio I'm showing you is up here. This bias T option is only available on the 1A. So that tells me this radio I'm looking at is the 1A. I do have my antenna, the G5RV, connected through the switch to this radio now. And I think as far as those icons on the bottom, all these over here are for the 1, and all these over here are for the 1A. So if I pick this one, I should go to the 1, which I do. I can obviously see that I have a memory bank loaded and that bias T option is not there. So I think I have this set up, but you can see I'm really pegging my CPU, my total CPU, doing a hangout. So what I will probably do, because let me just turn the audio on this one for a second, and I'll have to switch the antenna, right? No, the antenna is connected to the 1. I knew I'd get confused. So I should be getting some signals, which I am. I'm getting this Spanish station right here. And if I unmute it, I might be able to understand it. It's a little muffled. I don't know if that's the station or let me mute it. I don't know if that's the station that's muffled or it's because I'm running out of CPU power, because it's right up here at the max. I'm going to take a breath here and get a little drink of my cream soda and go over and look at my other computer. So I've got another computer on the internet using up band space so that I can see the chat. So I'm also hurting on bandwidth for my internet connection, which isn't that great internet connection. So let me go over there real quickly and see what I see. Okay, I got Scott and I got Jeff. It's in the Hangout, and I've got 10 viewers. Again, as usual, I didn't schedule this. I wanted to see if it would work, because I'm planning on doing a lot of testing the 1 versus the 1A. Now, I had done quite a bit of research, and I talked to Rob, who's had the 1, the 1A, and the dual. And I asked him, is there much difference between the 1 and the 1A? Because at that time, I was considering buying the 1A if it was significantly better. He said that it does have more electronics, and I'll be going over the differences in another show. It does have a more electronics on the front end to prevent bleed in from medium wave. And if we go back to that radio, which is one of these buttons, it's got this switch right here, which is enable and disable the medium wave. What did it say? Come back. The broadcast notch, which is that's in the circuitry. There's a broadcast medium wave notch and an FM notch to keep them bleeding in on the other bands. Now, I usually on my 1, hope my voice is loud enough, because I'm kind of away from the microphone, because I got the camera between me and the microphone, so I can't quite get to the microphone. Let me go. If somebody will give me a report on the audio and video, I would appreciate it, because it could be I'm using all my CPU, I could be dropping out. And usually the first thing to drop out on a Hangout is the audio. I get audio dropouts. So let me go there and see if somebody will give me some information. Okay, Larry said the sound is fine. That's amazing. Thank you, Larry. That's amazing that I'm not getting dropouts. The whole thing might crash at any minute, so bear with me. You can see my voice is kind of strange, because I'm so excited about getting this working. Well, number one, I was excited that they sent me the 1A. And number two, I was excited that I could get both of them and Hangouts all running at the same time. Now, I've got the bandwidth on both radios set to minimum Well, actually, I can lower it a little more. That's right. I forgot about this declination number, which, well, I can divide by 2. So now it's only using, it's using less CPU power. So that dropped down a little bit. Now we go to the other one. Let's see, I'm on the one on the right. Let's go to the one on the left. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll change the declination to 2. And wow, yeah, you saw it go down there. So now I've got a little bit of room there as far as because the 2 numbers here, this is the SDR use of the CPU. In other words, this software. And then the bottom one is, I think, the overall system CPU usage, which is always the bigger number. And you can see it's still kind of banging up against this. I could go ahead and divide this by 4. We do that. And then I'll go to the other one. I'm just testing here, so bear with me. Let's divide by 4 there. And now that's, see, it gets in the red here at about 75%. So that's staying below 75%. And I'm on the one on this side. So it's back to this side. And this is about 72 to 75%. So I think it's working. Believe it or not, I think it's working. I get a drink here. I'm so excited. My mouth is dry. Okay, so this was a test to see if I can get this configuration working. Now, I don't necessarily have to do a Hangout when I'm doing this side-by-side testing. But I think, at least in the past, a Hangout, believe it or not, is less taxing on my computer than doing an offline record. With when I do want to do this, which is screen sharing recording, I have to use OBS, and OBS uses quite a bit of CPU power too. So OBS, using OBS offline and doing recordings, screen capture recordings, it appears to be a little more taxing on my computer than just doing a Hangout on the air and doing screen share. So this may be the configuration I use. Oh, it just maxed out there. You can see the waveform jumping around when this thing gets maxed out. Still hurting pretty bad. I'm 2 megahertz divided by 4 right now. And I'm running 2 instances of SDR Uno plus Hangout on the air. And as far as my internet, I'm taxing it with the computer that I'm uploading and a computer across the room that is monitoring the Hangout and the chat room specifically. Okay. I'm surprised it hasn't crashed. And I'm not saying that I'm surprised it didn't crash because of the SDRplays. I'm saying that because my computer that I'm using, which I'm using the best I got, isn't that powerful. It's got an AMD 9 CPU. And it does fine, except when I try to do something crazy like this. Okay, hold on. Okay, we got, let's see, I can't even read it far across the room. We got Where Aim, Amy. And he says both are good, the video and the audio. And we now have David Watts, who says, hi, dude. And how do we need people? How many? We got 9 people watching, which is, that's fine because I don't schedule my Hangouts. I have scheduled them when I was able to get Rob 741 is his channel name to come in and do one with me. So we do schedule those. Unfortunately, last Saturday he was not available, so we couldn't do one. And we actually did one offline this week before I got this new radio, discussing the differences between the SDRplay 1 and the 1A. And I had hooked up the 1A, and there was some option, and I cannot remember. Oh, it was an option in SDR console. And I don't remember what it was, but I couldn't get it to work. It had to do with the bandwidth. I couldn't get in SDR console, I couldn't get the full bandwidth of the SDRplay 1. And it turns out I did not install the drivers for the 1A, and I was trying to use the drivers for the 1 and the 2, and they just didn't match. So once I got the drivers for the 1A installed, and I didn't know how to do that, and he showed me how. So we got SDR console working. So I will try. Another thing I will try is to run 2 instances. I don't know if I even have to run 2 whatever that word is, of SDR console. I think SDR console. I think SDR console will run in one instance of the program. I think it'll run more than one radio. I think so. That's something else I can try. I mean, I am overwhelmed. This is like early Christmas for me. I'm trying to think of anything. I could have quit singing. Oh, I got off that habit of singing for many, many months, and now it's back. I guess it's because I'm excited. Well, anyway, I think I've done about all I can do here at this time. I need to sit down and make an outline of the test I want to do in this comparison mode. There are different features of the 1A that you didn't get on the 1, and they've discontinued making the 1. The new bottom line product is the 1A. And we go back here. This is, you're seeing right now, you're seeing the 1. If I come over here, this is the 1A. And I haven't loaded the memory database yet. That's why it's blank. But you can see it's got this bias T function, which is for supplying power to an amplified antenna. And then it's got these new filters down here. Those are the obvious differences. It's got other differences, but those are the obvious differences with the program. And the program recognizes whether you've got the 1 or the 1A. Now, if you've got the 2 or the duo, maybe not the 2, but at least the duo, you have to run a different version of the software altogether. All right. Let me see if the audio has improved now that I've cut down this bandwidth. Okay, I got the radio without the antenna. Let me switch over to the other radio. Okay, this is the one that's got the antenna on it. No, I'll turn the volume up a little bit. Let me see if I can tune it. I think that's the station. It's not a station that's listed in any listings. So I don't know what it is. Let me try. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, it's 4 o'clock. Let me try. And I got this little, I don't remember where I got this. I got this little memory thing database from somewhere. Maybe I got it from Mike who works for SDRplay, and it's got all these presets, and so I can select 10 megahertz and see how that sounds. Pretty weak. Try 15. No. The band conditions right now are terrible. Plus, the weather here in Florida right now is bad. So that doesn't surprise me. And although things do tend to improve on shortwave from about 4 p.m. on, but of course lately the solar flux index it's been 70 and 71, but still band conditions haven't been that good. I think that's all I'm going to try. If there's anything you want me to try real quickly, I'll do it. Okay, who we got here? We got Two Hands in a Radio. Hey, Two Hands in a Radio's here. All right. We got Jeff King. Jeff King, of course, has been very nice to me and loaning me some of his radios. Larry says, I'm not seeing your screen. Oh, that's not good. And Scott says, your camera is not on your PC. Oh, no, it won't be, because I'm doing screen sharing. It takes the camera off. That's why you don't see the camera right now. So I can do one or the other. I can't do both at the same time with Hangouts on the air. Now with OBS, I can set up OBS to have a split screen which shows my desktop and, oops, I just kicked the camera. Oh my gosh, I hit my head. And the camera. But then it gets real power hungry. Matter of fact, just doing that by itself sometimes overtaxes my computer. So I can go back to Hangout and I can turn off. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's turned off somehow. How did I do that? I'm sorry. Somehow it's right now, it's on my desktop. So somehow I turned off screen sharing and forgot about it. So let me turn that back on for a second. Now, let me get this out of the way. And now you should be able to see my computer screen. I apologize. I didn't realize I turned that off. Or maybe it turned itself on. Yeah, there we go. I'm looking at my other computer, which my view is delayed on that computer about 15 seconds. And so I see my desktop now. So I'm back on my desktop. I apologize. I thought it was on my desktop before. So one thing I'll mention again is this is right now the screen for the 1A. And you can see over here, it's got LNA, AGC, the bandwidth, and the divider dissemination, called divider. And then if I go over to the other radio, this has bias T, medium wave and FM notch filters, and DAP notch. So that's two major differences between the two radios as far as capability. There are others which I'll go over in future videos. I plan to do a lot of videos on these two and do a lot of testing comparison, because I myself, I want to answer that question is the 1A, if you already have the 1, for instance, is it worth getting the 1A? Or should you go for the 2 or for the Duo? And hopefully I can show you the differences by doing this kind of side by side. Now, keep in mind, only one of the radios has the antenna hooked up. Like right now, it's hooked up on the other radio, which is the 1. I can switch the antenna right now, and there now it's hooked up to the 1A, and you can see that the signal has gotten a lot better. And if I unmute it, it's still muffled. It's almost like a single sideband. I don't know. I'm not gonna fool with that right now. So I think I'm just about done. Mainly wanted to see if this setup would even work, because I'll say it one more time. I'm running 2 instances of SDR Uno for the 2 different radios, the 1 and the 1A, and I'm running Hangout on the air. And as far as my internet is concerned, I've got at least two computers hooked, one doing this uploading and the other one monitoring the upload. And I probably have at least 20 other devices that are hanging on my router. Whether they're doing anything or not, I don't know. And whoa, look at this. Some reason the overall CPU usage has dropped way down. Now maybe, and that's the one thing that drives me nuts with Windows 10, is there's all kinds of things that sneak in and starts doing things in background and using up your CPU power. So this has really dropped down. We were running, after I cut everything down, we were running still like 70% on the overall. When we look at the other radio, yeah, it's down here in the mud too, less than 50. So all of a sudden, this got a lot better. I'm not sure why. Again, I had to do a reboot of the computer when I had the crash earlier, and I gave it 15 minutes to do its housekeeping, and I thought that was long enough. But you know, you got virus programs scanning in background. You know, it's Windows 10. I've kind of lost control of the computer on Windows 10. So anyway, where are we at? Let me go look in the chat room, and then maybe we'll wrap this up. Okay. Scott said he was flashing a Chromebook to Linux Ubuntu, and many mistakes were made. I can relate to making a lot of mistakes with computers. Okay. So I think we're, as far as testing the setup, I think we're done. I think it worked. I'm excited about having a 1A. And like I say, I'm going to do a bunch of testing with these two SDRs to see how they compare, because you can pick up the 1 now on eBay. Now, I have read that there are things advertised as SDR plays, but they're not really SDR plays. So you got to be careful. Best to try to just order it from the maker, which is in the UK. Like I say, they've discontinued making the 1, so I don't think those are available anymore. But the 1A is now the same price as the 1 was when it went on discount, which is, I think, $99. It's either $99 or $109. So the only decision you would have to make is if you already have the 1, you want to go to the 1A. That's the only decision you had to make. And I was, with Rob's help, I was trying to make that decision when all of a sudden the 1A showed up, was given to me by the people at SDRplay. So unless you have some more questions, I'm going to call this a wrap, and I'm going to call it success. I don't know about you, but I think it was successful. Okay, we got a couple more people. I just want to tell you real quickly again what I was doing. I had gotten the SDRplay 1A. They sent it to me to do some testing, and I had the 1. And so what I wanted to do is see if I could set both of them up running at the same time, and then I could compare the performance. So I've done that. I have, this is the 1, which is all these windows on this side, and the windows on this side are the 1A. And the obvious difference is this has a bias T option on the 1A that the other one does not have, and it has the medium wave and FM notch filters the other one doesn't have. So, and right now I am running, because I normally have had to run my 1 with an external notch filter, and I'm running it right now without the external notch filter. Both radios are connected to an antenna switch, which is connected to my G5RV antenna. So that's what I've been doing, trying to see if this will work and trying to see if I can do Hangouts. And it looks like it worked. I had to cut the bandwidth down to the minimum, which is 2 megahertz. And then I had to use the declination, and I've got it at 4 now. I could probably go back to 2 because all of a sudden now my computer is not busy. So let me just do that as a last test. Let's go back to 2. And it's still below 50. Let's go to 1, which is what I like. And it's still hanging in there. Let's go to the other radio. And this is the type of testing I want to be doing. Oh, wrong radio. Okay, it's at 4, so let's change that to 1. And we'll let it run for a little while. And there it goes, jumping up. But it's still, if I can keep it below 75, I'm happy. That's the overall power usage of everything on this computer, theoretically. The top number is the power, CPU power usage of just this application at this time. So it's hanging in around 50. That's good. So something other than these programs were using up my CPU computing power before when I started this. That's gone away. I had to reboot the computer, and it was probably doing some homework. Okay, I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to call it quits. And thanks everybody that stopped by. Again, this was unannounced. I was just going to test to see if I could even do this. If you would like me to do some live comparison testing of these 2 radios, I can schedule some live testing if you're interested in me doing that. Otherwise, I'll do the testing offline, record, and then upload the results. That's it. Have a great holiday. Bye-bye. Oh, here is my, I don't have zoom control, but here's my setup. This is the 1, this is the 1A, this is the antenna switch. This is the filter that I normally have to use on the 1 to keep the medium wave stations from bleeding in. So that's my setup. Thanks for stopping by and have a great day. Bye-bye. I think I already said that once.